Okay, so today we are going to focus on the best Valentine's Day ever. Since we're so close to February 14th, I thought this might be good, especially for those husbands out there where the pressure is on. You might be saying, this is a video I need to listen to. What makes the best Valentine's Day ever? So let's talk about that for a second. First of all, choose the right gift and plan the right date. So husbands, that's your clue. Most wives have an expectation maybe of a little something. It might just be chocolates. It might be something else, but then also spending some time together, whatever that's going to be. So husbands, here's your first tip. Meet your wife's expectations. Ask your wife, what would you like to do? When you think about the best Valentine's Day, what would we be doing? Where would we be? Ask the question because she is going to give you the key to what her heart's desire is. Now, wives, it's important that you communicate clearly what you expect. And then whatever is planned, be thankful for what your husband tried to do. And I promise, if the husband asks the question and the wife's able to articulate what her expectations are, what she'd like to do, then your recipe for success is already in place. Now, obviously, we want to go a little deeper than that. It's certainly not about the gifts and the date, but I think to make your Valentine's this year even more special is choose meaningful conversation. Once you make your plan, you go do something together, even if it's just a quiet evening at home when the kids are in bed, choose meaningful conversation this Valentine's Day. And what I mean by that is, we have the sermon series, The Making of a Great Marriage. If you heard that on a Sunday morning, or if you want to go online or to rednotes.org, you can download that sermon series. And the idea is we incorporate the marriage principles. And what we talked about, the first principle is love is a choice, not just a feeling. And I hope that instead of just hearing those words and thinking, well, that's kind of interesting, love's a choice, not just a feeling, really take some time to practically implement that this Valentine's Day as a couple. Talk about your love languages when you're on your date, when you have your time. Talk about what is each of your language of love. What I see in counseling all the time is couples are like, well, that's interesting, the love language thing. And you might take the test or read the book and find out what your language is. But then it's kind of like the work stops and couples don't really take the next step, which is the whole point of finding some practical ways to speak the other person's language. So when you're on your date, choose the meaningful conversation of saying, okay, now what is each of our love languages? And then, okay, what are some practical things we each can do? Give some ideas of what your spouse could do to speak your language. That's what sets you up for success. That's what starts to put the love as a choice into play, because otherwise they're just words. So again, choosing meaningful conversation this Valentine's Day and talking about these ideas will be so important. And then lastly, just make a new and fresh commitment to your marriage. Really make a commitment to one another that at the end of the day, February 14th doesn't mean a whole lot. It's Hallmark's way of making a lot of money, but it is a day that we can honor the love and commitment that we have in marriage. And the way to do that that's going to be lasting and more meaningful is that you have conversations like this, talking about your love languages and really making connection and showing one another that you want to put the other above yourself. And so let's just end by looking at Proverbs 20:25. It says, "It is a snare to say rashly, it is holy, and to reflect only after making vows." So the point being, a lot of us, we get married and we just go through the motions and we think, well, marriage this is just what we do. But what's more valiant, what's more important is that you think about your vows, that you're challenged by the vows. Go back to your wedding day. Remember the things you said, in sickness and health, and that you're together until death do you part. Like, don't just let those be words that you said on your anniversary and then they don't mean anything in your day-to-day life. Really take your vows and take them seriously this Valentine's Day and have some meaningful conversation and build into your marriage. So good luck, and I hope it's the best Valentine's Day ever.